know you didn't miss out on something or there isn't some information that you haven't taken, but scriptures this weekend, both the Genesis reading and today's gospel, are about marriage. And marriage is a specific, very important kind of a relationship. It's one that's sacrificial, it's one that's intimate, and it's one that's really loving. And is it any wonder then that really the image that Jesus used most often for the relationship between Christ and the church is that of a bride and a groom? It's the kind of relationship we should have with the church as well as with each other. And so it's interesting then this weekend maybe that we just think about this question about marriage. Sometimes people ask me why I wear a ring, and I say, well, it's really because I'm married to the church. But do you love your church? If you think about church and these words come to mind like duty or I have to or it's pain or I need to check it off or get it in someplace, if you did those kinds of things in a marriage, your marriage would be in trouble. But it's really that image that Christ uses a lot about between Christ and his bride, the church. And so it's a terrific time for us to reflect upon what the nature of our relationship is. Is it something that we just try to get in someplace? It's kind of like, I'll get my love someplace. Or is it a place where we are committed? There's people that we've grown to love. It's a special kind of relationship. If it's just kind of a check-in kind of a thing and we're really not connected, we're really not intimate, we really don't know these people very well, then church will be really a strange thing for us. It'll be an accessory. It'll be something that is not very important in our lives. But when we hear in the book of Genesis about God having a suitable partner, do we look at the church as that? Something that's really important, that in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, we all have struggles, churches have struggles. But what about coming together? What about those times that we have to kind of work through the tough times? That is something for us to think about. It's not necessarily something that, well, it should always be okay for me and it should always be positive and it should never challenge me and it should be okay all the time and it's not a hassle. Anybody that I've talked to who's been married more than 5 minutes tells me that marriage can be very challenging sometimes. It's a challenging kind of relationship because the relationship is so important. This weekend as we come together to worship and we think about the suitability part from the reading from Genesis. And when we think about Jesus teaching about divorce in the gospel from Mark, we think about that maybe we've kind of divorced ourselves from the church. We've used excuses, we've used things that have gotten in the way of our relationship. The church becomes our relationship that helps us to establish that relationship with Christ and is the safe haven, the family in which that love develops. Do you love your church? I hope so. If you don't, try to love your church in good times and in bad, in sickness and health. Until death do we part. See you this weekend.